Good morning, guys. A lot of stuff happened over the weekend, honestly. We were supposed to get talks, I think, Sunday, and then they pushed them to Monday. Now it's looking like we might not get talks at all. We did seize a ship yesterday that tried to pass the strait. Iran has reclosed the strait. Traffic is at a standstill. If you look at some of the monitoring sites, you can see traffic still at a standstill. Iran is apparently rejecting second round talks. We also have their parliament speaker, Kalibaf, fighting kind of hardliners there. He's worried he's going to get removed as a speaker, and Arachi as well, and that they're not going to be able to negotiate, because remember, there's two different factions that are kind of like battling for it. The ceasefire, if we go by when the president originally stated it, was this Wednesday, April 22nd, in 48 hours. Yesterday during the Sunday open, markets mostly reacted negatively to this. I mean, here's the NASDAQ right here. We'll put the NASDAQ up first. You can see oil is elevated back up to 88, but here's the NASDAQ here. It did open up red yesterday and mostly just trended sideways. It's starting to rebound a little bit and fill some of this gap. Oil, again, WTI crude is up to almost $88 a barrel now. So WTI crude up to almost $88 a barrel. Hit highs yesterday at the Sunday open of about 89.60s, almost back up over 90s. We do have some earnings this week as well. We have Tesla earnings today. We had I think some small regional banks. Yeah, Cleveland Cliffs, Bank of Hawaii, Capital City Bank Group, and some other small regional banks that reported, but nothing major this morning. Nothing really major this evening, to be honest. Steel Dynamics, Alaska Air, and a couple other. Zion Bank, maybe one of the bigger regional banks to watch this morning. But tomorrow morning we get kind of a deeper look at earnings. We have United Health, GE, RTX, 3M, Danaher, Quest, Halliburton, and more tomorrow morning. And then Wednesday, I believe, is Tesla. We got United Airlines tomorrow evening, Capital One, IB, and more. And then Wednesday we have Tesla in the evening. I believe we have IBM. Yeah, IBM's the same day. But good morning, guys. Hope you guys are doing good. Yeah, more escalation news. Now, the question is, there's some things that could move markets back, right? One of the things that could move markets back to the upside to break all-time highs. Again, here's the S&P futures. You can look at the SPY if you want. They're both over 7100s here for both of these, so they're doing pretty good. Here's the SPY. They were at 711s or so for the SPY prior to this. We are now at 706s. So we pulled back a little bit, but it's not a crazy, huge pullback, to be honest here. It's not like a ridiculously large pullback or anything like that. Yeah, Marvell had news. Marvell's gapping up. It's at 148. You can see Marvell moving. Yeah, it should be an interesting open today. I mean, now it's looking like the Strait of Hormuz is back closed. The big news on Friday was that the Strait of Hormuz was open, and it looked like it would stay that way and good things would happen. Apparently it's not open anymore. We just had more escalation over the weekend. We thought we'd get a potential meeting with the two sides today or yesterday, but again, it's not looking like that is going to happen as cleanly as they originally thought here. And again, in our the parliament speaker, Kalibaf, we saw some posts this morning that he expressed concern regarding his removal from the presidency of the parliament and the sidelining of Arachi from the position of Minister of Foreign Affairs. These are the two most pro-deal, members. And so this is a pretty big deal. So Kalibaf, Galibaf, I guess is how you pronounce it, is Iran's parliament speaker and the lead negotiator with the U.S. He's worried he's going to get removed. And that is one of the reasons, obviously, oil is popping up here. He did say, essentially, that he's fighting for a deal, that he sharply criticized opponents of the agreement. Like, people who are against making a deal were sharply criticized by him, meaning the hardliners there who pushed the reject talk statement yesterday through the IRNA. That rejection might not have been the full government's position. It may have been the hardliners overruling the negotiating team, is the first thing you got to understand about this. He's also worried he might get removed. He's worried about being removed as the parliament speaker and Arachi being sidelined as the foreign minister, which are, again, the two most pro-deal guys in this thing. It's the two people that are trying to get a deal done the most. It's the least, trying to think of the most delicate way to put this. It's the least hardliners. It's the most pro-deal guys. So there is a pro-deal faction in Iran, but they're worried they're going to get removed. So they're worried about a coup from hardliners. And if that happens, that's bad. You know, that means that this conflict will probably continue to escalate for, you know, at least a while longer than it would have if the pro-deal guys would stay in. And hopefully they do. But again, prior to this weekend, it was looking like the Strait was open, like looking like we would get a deal done. We were supposed to meet with them yesterday. That did not happen. And again, oil and everything else is kind of popping up this morning and yesterday from that dynamic here. Oil back up to 87s. It's not quite over 90s like it was, but it's still up there. You know, it's still up. It's elevated versus where it closed on Friday. You know, it's the thing to understand. So gold and silver miners. Check. Yeah. But it's Monday, guys. It's Monday. It's earnings season's here as well. And so we got some stocks to watch. It is earnings season. Another bull. Yeah, let's do a poll today. Are you guys bullish or bearish? We can take a look at yields in a second. Are you bullish or bearish on equities today? Bull or bear? Let me know. There's the poll. Are you bullish or bearish on equities today? If we take a look at yields this morning, we can take a look at 10-year. Now, 10 years did drop. The yields did drop last week, but they have rebounded some this morning, which kind of makes sense. You know, if the conflict is going to continue, it might make inflation elevated a little bit longer than expected, and that in turn would reduce the odds of rate cuts this year from higher inflation. And so you can see we did gap down a lot last week in yields and 10-year treasury yields specifically. And then yesterday into today, we kind of popped right. We filled about half of that gap. We're still net down in yields, but we did fill about half that gap. If we take a look at 2-year treasuries, 2-year treasuries are sitting at 3.73%. They did the same thing. They dropped Friday, Thursday. Bounced, rebounded back up after potentially more escalation news that we're getting over the weekend. Yeah, what's up, Max, Mamba, Amin, Todd, Discipline, Plague, Jonathan, Blaze, Peck, Check, Jack, Sergio, Cavaleria, Boo Boo, Swad, Reggie, Jay, Dragos, Frenzy, Jay, Tony, Quats, VA, Big Slum, Vin, Rick, Deckers, F, Moist, Glass, Wanna Be a Trader, Yee, Brian, Keegan, Bam Bam, Apex, Hack, Ava. What's up, guys? Good morning. Yeah, I mean, markets are still reacting here. You know, in futures, I was thinking about streaming yesterday, but futures are slowly becoming, I'm not going to say immune to this, but they're definitely being conditioned to react less. You know, it's too many back and forth. Like, markets celebrate, yeah, the Strait is open again last week, and then over the weekend, the opposite happens, and the Strait of Hormuz is now closed, and there's more escalating things, and now who knows if we're going to get a deal done. I mean, we're eventually going to get some type of deal done, but it might require more escalation if this doesn't hold. You know what I mean? You can't go up and down 15% on oil every day. Yeah, for sure, 100%. I don't know. When was the ceasefire? Ceasefire was 2 weeks. It's set. The ceasefire is set to expire April 22nd. Now, what you might be saying is that the ceasefire has been broken. And look, I mean, look, I'm trying to look at this the most objectively. If we have a blockade there and they try to pass a ship through, you know, I mean, I'm not saying we should or shouldn't have done anything. I'm just saying, what did they think was going to happen? You know, we have a blockade. They try to pass a ship through anyway. You know, what makes you think a deal is inevitable? Well, I think a deal is inevitable in this context. Is that I think eventually we'll get some type of deal. Who knows when? But I think if these current talks don't hold, and especially if some of these pro-deal members there get pushed out, then that is a situation in which obviously we're gonna have to escalate things more, and then the response to that could be after more escalation. Who knows how long it would take, but after a certain amount of escalation, then they would try to get a deal done with us. It might be much longer conflict, but I think that's kind of what most people are looking like in terms of what happens here. Again, I don't know. We'll see. Looking at our poll, 65% are bearish today, 36% are bullish, which is kind of pivoting from where we were last week. What's up, Blaze? No deal before 2 weeks. They need to do 10 trillion worth of quantitative easing this year to refinance the debt. We get some more bad news. It's DCA week here. Who you making a deal with? Well, you're gonna make a deal with somebody, you know. The deal might be like, hey, let's end this now and we won't continue to strike you. But that's a deal too. Yeah, Britt's taking the day off. I think he had a doctor's appointment or something. So he'll be back tomorrow. Roof, what's up? But yeah, stocks. Let's take a look at stocks. We got some news on stocks. Again, the big thing is Tesla earnings this week. So we do have Tesla earnings. Again, they're pivoting away from vehicles and more into AI and robotics. And now that's a bigger risk, bigger reward move. Now, obviously, you know, there's more risk pivoting away from your main business. But a lot of people would argue like their EPS, their margins were not very good anyway. And that pivoting away from that type of low margin, bad margin dynamic, I should say. You know, I think that is a bigger risk, but I think AI is a safer pivot, and they've already been involved with AI. They're just making it their main business now. And so Tesla has been reacting well leading into their earnings report, but they've been on a downtrend since like December. If you look at Tesla, they've been on a downtrend since December or longer. So yeah, I don't know. We could look at Truth Social post. It was quite active over the weekend. Like, it was one of those weekends where I had to keep watching. It was one of those weekends I had to keep watching, you know, just because it moves markets so much. Like, when he tweets, it moves markets so much. And again, he said this yesterday, about a day ago, on Sunday morning. He said, Iran decided to fire yesterday in the Strait of Hormuz, a violation of our ceasefire agreement. Many of them were aimed at a French ship and a freighter from the UK. That wasn't nice. My representatives are going to Pakistan. They will be there tomorrow evening for negotiations. Iran recently announced that they were closing the strait, which is strange because our blockade has already closed it. They're helping us without knowing, and they are the ones that lose with the closed passage. $500 million a day. The U.S. loses nothing. In fact, many ships are headed right now to the U.S., Texas, Louisiana, and Alaska to load up compliments of the IRGC, always wanting to be the tough guy. We're offering a very fair and reasonable deal, and I hope they take it. If they don't, the United States is going to knock out every single power plant, every single bridge. No more Mr. Nice Guy. They'll come down fast. They'll come down easy. And if they don't take the deal, it will be my honor to do what has to be done. Some other stuff. So, yeah. That is the news over the weekend. Again, oil elevated right now. Oil elevated. But, you know, it's down from where it was in the heat of the conflict here. So it's still looking like we could get a deal done. I think markets are kind of apprehensive right now. I think they don't really know which way to go here. I think they don't really know. Yeah, and does oil dip down today? Or does it continue to go up? Does oil dip, or do markets pivot to more optimism today? We're pretty close to all-time highs again. Just to take a look at this, right? Like, here's the S&P 500 ETF. All-time highs we hit on Friday. Or no, when was this? Yeah, Friday. We hit all-time highs. We hit 71.85s or so on Friday, or got at least really close to it. So yeah, 71.85s are the all-time highs. The S&P is really only down here. So all-time highs are right here on the S&P 500 futures contract. So I don't know why. Yeah, let me do this. Here are all-time highs right here. So we're really not that far away here. If we go green on the day, it's very possible we break all-time highs. Again, what would cause an all-time high break, though, is the question. And I think it would look something like we hear news that Iran is willing to meet up and Iran is willing to meet up and potentially get another deal done, is what it is. You spelled Strait of Hormuz wrong. Where? Not in the title. Title's right. Yeah, good tweet from Iran. Potential, potential optimism for talks. And I think we could see that. I think it's very possible we see that. Here's the NASDAQ. All right, so the NASDAQ, again, still pretty close to all-time highs. The Dow is kind of the lagger in all this stuff. NASDAQ hit all-time highs on Friday at 26,884, at least in the NASDAQ futures contract. So all-time highs are right here. Really not that far away from us. Like, we are red on the day here, but it's really not like a crazy amount away from us, to be honest. Yeah, I think you're actually right. I did spell straight wrong. Yep, I did spell it wrong. Thank you, sir. Bitcoin is slightly green. Yeah, we can look at Bitcoin. I was watching Bitcoin over the weekend, and sometimes you can look at Bitcoin and get kind of an understanding of how markets might respond. But here's the NASDAQ. NASDAQ's still, still pretty close to all-time highs. The Dow is starting to look better too, although the Dow did pull back with everything else here. You can kind of see the gap down in the Dow. It pulled back a little bit, but Bitcoin, if we take a look at it over the weekend here, Bitcoin's holding pretty nicely at, I would say, at 75,000 here for Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's still trying to stay. It's still trying to hold. It did dip over the weekend when the talks kind of fell apart. The potential talks kind of fell apart. It did dip, and you can kind of see where the markets might go based off of how Bitcoin behaves over the weekend. But here's where talks started to kind of fall. You can see everything else starting to pull back. But really, it happened Saturday. We started getting word that, Saturday, that things were kind of deteriorating. Yeah, I'm curious where gold, Bitcoin. Yeah, we have United Airlines this week earnings. We got retail sales tomorrow. It's been a slow few weeks of economic reports, but that's all right. Yeah. I did not do the poll because I want to see how it unfolds. Yeah, we'll see how it unfolds. I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. Again, we'll see. By glizzies, do you mean hot dogs? I wish I could eat more hot dogs. I really do. But they're terrible for you. Like, I'm a big chili cheese dog guy, but I can't eat them. No. And as a baseball fan, like, hot dogs are what you do, but I'm at the age now where I feel bad if I eat them. A lot of hackers. 29th. Yeah, I mean, we're not going to be hiking rates on the 29th. We're just not going to. It's just not happening. You know, you can look at the odds. I mean, look, we got a, what, 0.5% chance of a rate hike this month. It's just not happening. You know, we had somebody say, oh, we were going to get a 50 basis point hike. And I told him the same thing. Yeah, he's wrong. Whoever's pushing 50 basis point rate hike is just wrong. Like, of course, we're not going to get a 50 basis point rate hike next week. It's just not happening. It's just not happening. Yeah, the Fed's just going to keep rates the same. What's really going to matter is what Powell says, what the sentiment looks like. The last one, we got the dot plot. So we got the summary of economic projections last time. And so this one, you know, we'll see. But yeah, like that's, we've already, you know, again, we already got an understanding of what we're going to get during this next FOMC meeting. Like, the only way we would ever get a rate hike is if we escalated way further. You know, at this point in time, markets are pricing in virtually no chance of a rate hike is what this looks like to me. 0.3% chance of a rate hike all year. You know, these are all rate pause or cut options. You know, if we're looking at a cut option, it's 42% likelihood of a cut this year. As of December, this is December, still a 58% chance we pause rates all year and we don't change them. So it's still looking very unlikely that we're going to get, you know, that we're going to get anything. Again, Netflix stock, if you take a look at it, here's Netflix. It's still kind of bleeding from last week's earnings report. It's dropped, what, 10% on earnings for Netflix. It beat earnings, tanked anyway. Q2 guidance, only 13.5% growth, made a lot of people nervous about Netflix. Hastings leaving the board, Reed Hastings. So, and I like Netflix long term, but I would say their content quality has faded a little bit. You know, one of their big golden child shows was Stranger Things, and now Stranger Things is done, and so, you know, people are less optimistic regarding Netflix now. They didn't get the Warner Bros. Deal. Paramount did. And yeah, Nike is down 28% year to date. But the CEO, Elliott Hill, just bought another 1 million shares. Tim Cook bought another 1 million. JP Morgan had earnings last week as well. Yeah, I lose my chat here. There it is. All right. I need something big to come out. Yeah, we'll see, guys. We'll see. New Fed chair starting in May. He's going to be in June. He's going to be confirmed sometime this week, right? I heard he was, potentially. There's a date for it. It's tomorrow. He has the hearing scheduled tomorrow ahead of Jerome Powell's term expiring in May. So Jerome Powell's term expires in less than a month. But yeah, here's Nike. CoreWeave has been doing pretty good over the last few days. You know, you can see the last few weeks, CoreWeave's up. It was at lows of like 60s though. It's already back up. Like, if you, what's kind of wild with some of this stuff is, like, look, CoreWeave was at $70 March 30th. So we've had, what, 3 weeks of CoreWeave? And it is up such a huge percentage in 3 weeks for CoreWeave. It is up from $60-something a share all the way up to 115. So really, it's up, what, over 100? No, not quite. It's up almost 100% in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So CoreWeave has gone up dramatically here. JP Morgan recently had earnings. Kind of hard to track this though because of these weird, strange candle wicks. But yeah, we're at what, 309s now for JP Morgan. Service now. Yeah, I mean, Tesla has earnings on Wednesday evening. Wednesday evening is when Tesla releases earnings. I think I might buy Google, Nvidia, Microsoft, Amazon today. Hey, good luck, my friend. Bitcoin's bottom is 50K. Yeah, I mean, the NASDAQ, look, man, the NASDAQ. It depends on what you guys think is going to happen here. If we look at betting odds, like if we look at betting odds, markets are pricing in a 68% chance that the U.S. and Iran have a deal by June 30th. There's a 59% chance that it happens by the end of May. So we got like a month and a week or two. You know, but on the other end of that, markets are pricing in, really, if we look at this, I'm trying to look at the last 6 hours, the last day. Markets are pricing in roughly a 30% chance the Strait of Hormuz traffic returns to normal by the end of this month. So we'll see. It's a bear day. Yeah, I mean, look, most of the poll is voting in bear options. 41% are bullish. Basically, it's 60-40 bears this morning on the poll. And again, just to reiterate here, this is some of the bad news that we got. So Ghalibaf expressed concern that they would make him step down. You know, and he's one of the pro-deal guys that we've been talking to. Yeah. And again, they're worried Ghalibaf, the Speaker of the Consulting Assembly and the head of the delegation, and Arachi are going to get forced to step down. And then if they do, then yeah, if they do, then it's much less optimism for a potential deal if they do get forced to step down. Yeah. Yeah, we'll see what happens, guys. I mean, look, it's definitely a riskier time here. Just because I think, again, optimism could be here. We could have, yeah, the bull case would be if markets start to price in a potential deal. Like if we hear that the U.S. and Iran are going to meet again sometime in the next day or two, I think that's good. We were supposed to speak with them today. I don't know if that's going to happen. Yeah, so I don't know if that's going to happen. But if we start to price in a potential meeting between the two sides, that could make markets boost back up. We could push back to all-time highs here. And so that's what I would pay attention to. Oil, again, we can take a look at it. Gold first. Let's take a look at gold. Here's gold. Gold has been moving up for the last few weeks, but not in a crazy amount like the NASDAQ and the S&P. It's still under highs, pretty decently under highs. Silver, same thing. Here's silver. Silver's at, what, $80 an ounce? $79.50 an ounce. So, yeah, I mean, oil, I didn't think it would jump super crazy. I think markets are getting immune to some of these catalysts. You know, the longer term trend on oil over the last, and when I say longer term trend, I mean in like 20 days, is down. You know, it's not at the highs it was, but it's also one of those things where, you know, one good story, one bad story in markets could push this. And so it is a news driven market right now. If we take a look at one of these sites that let you watch the Strait, yeah, we can take a look at the Strait of Hormuz monitor site here. I saw somebody post this in our Discord, but there's 280 vessels waiting. 8 ships have transited it in the last 24 hours. There's 280 ships waiting, 180 tankers, 65 bulk carriers. You know, there's 3 ships transiting right now, 8 in the last 24 hours. Normal daily average volume is 60, so it's only running at about 13% of its normal flow. We'll see if the second round of talks thing holds. I originally heard the talks were supposed to be Sunday, and I think they were. But now it's kind of moved back. It's kind of moved back away from that. And so now it's looking like maybe today, maybe tomorrow, sometime soon. Again, Iran's kind of pushing back on the talks now, they say. But again, there's two different factions. One of them is pro-deal, or like they want to get a deal done. The other one is not. They don't have much to lose. The other faction doesn't necessarily have much to lose in this situation. Yeah, Pakistan official says talks will happen soon. Sure, but yeah, they said talks would be originally Sunday, and then they switched it to Monday, and now it's a little bit different. They said the president of Lebanon said that Simon Karam, the former ambassador of this country to the U.S., will manage the bilateral negotiations. According to a report, Galibaf has described individuals, including Saeed, as militias and extremists who will hurt Iran. Yeah, this is what I would specifically watch. Hold on. Let's see. Iranian authorities have expressed willingness to send a delegation for a second round of talks this week, according to two Pakistani officials. This was reported about 30 seconds ago. The officials, who spoke on conditions of anonymity because they were not authorized to brief the media, said there is cautious optimism that delegations from both Iran and the U.S. could travel to Islamabad. So this is the breaking news. Yeah, that's the breaking news. And we'll see what happens here, guys. We'll see. Again, what do you guys think? Bull or bear today? Bull or bear? Buy or sell equities right now? Buy or sell the S&P? Let me know in chat. Put bull or bear. Yeah, I got a new coffee machine. I was like, we didn't let our coffee machine go out for longer than a day. Carol and I started getting headaches. We were like, man, what's going on? Yeah, bull or bear? Let me know in chat right now. Put it up. Let's see. Bear, bull, gap fill, bear. I don't know. Nice. Bear until a Trump tweet. Buy. Coffee blockade is lifted. Yeah, our coffee maker went out, dude. We were definitely gonna buy another one pretty quickly. Bear. We're gonna have to buy another coffee maker too, because like almost everyone we buy, like they're heating hot plastic up in the coffee, Buy the dips, bear, Bitcoin, V-shape. Yeah. Range bound until a major slam. Honestly, that's what I think as well. I think we'll probably move in a range here. Here's oil. Here's the NASDAQ. Here's the S&P 500. I think we'll probably move in a range until something happens. Either that is a tweet updating us. I mean, I think the news we just got is good, but I think markets are reacting less to this. News that somebody's willing to meet with us. The question is, are the people we meeting with even, do they hold much weight in terms of everything? So again, Iranian authorities have expressed willingness to send a delegation for round 2 talks this week, according to two Pakistani officials. That's the question, is even if we do get a deal done, do they have the weight to be able to do it? Yeah. And again, Bitcoin, guys, is over 75,000 here. Bitcoin's holding, and I think the longer Bitcoin holds over like 75, 74, 70s, really, I think the more optimism we might potentially get from it. So, like, the longer this holds, the more optimism we might potentially get. I don't know, though, for sure. We'll see. But where does Bitcoin close this year in 2026? Chat, let me know. Where do you guys think it closes this year? Over 75 is good. I'm looking at 75. I think over 80 would be better, obviously. If we can get over 80. 80's not that far away. 80's right here. If we can get over 80,000, I think that's an optimistic thing. But who knows? 58K? 60K? 150? 110, 42, 95, 85. When do you guys think it breaks highs again? 100K, Bitcoin buy, 250. I hope it's 250. I don't know if we're going to run that much for Bitcoin in less than a year. But 100K, 84. 2 years next year. Yeah, no, I mean, you can watch Bitcoin, like I said, you can watch Bitcoin as kind of like a... You can watch Bitcoin... Well, I mean, I understand IRGC is the hardliners. They are going to be the less likely to want to deal. You know, if we're talking about Ghalibaf and Iran in general, then, you know, they are pro-deal generally. It just depends on, you know, which side we're talking about. Break highs after midterms. Next high is post-halving. Yeah, we're at 75,000. We'll see if we hold over that today. Like, we'll see. Yeah. We'll see. All right, we're at 75 200s now. And yeah, like I said, man, if we get more news that we need like at this point in time, I think one of the things that markets are really starting to get immune from is deal talks. Right? We said we'd do a deal Sunday. Now it's Monday. Now it's sometime this week. I think markets are getting immune to that. They're not really reacting. And we got news that potentially Pakistan reporting that Iran might be willing to meet with us this week. And markets haven't really reacted too much to this. It's not like we saw some big move up. We also have to watch for president tweets, obviously, because that moves markets right now. But it's been an active weekend. It's been one of those weekends where I couldn't really relax. I had to kind of pay attention to everything going on, which is fine. I like watching this stuff anyway. But tomorrow's Taco Tuesday. Yeah, I mean, look, we'll see, dude. We'll see, you know. I think a lot of people do the opposite of what he says, but at the same time, I think people also price in, you know, some, like, it's somewhere in the middle. Yeah, Bert's not here today. I'm gonna buy MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy's been a strategy. It's strategy now. You know, I don't know. I keep saying MicroStrategy, but yeah, strategy obviously is starting to go back up, man. Strategy almost hit $100. I think one of the interesting assets is Stretch, STRC. Pays you a pretty high percentage. It's supposed to keep it pretty close to $100, but you know, there's obviously risks to it. But I do like Stretch generally. And it's been getting more stable as time goes on, even despite the volatility that we're seeing in some of these things. What does it pay right now for Stretch? What is it, 11.5% a year or something like that? I missed your updates over the weekend. Ugh. MicroStrategy. Yeah, we'll see what we get today, man. Again, it's an interesting day. It's been a slow week, though. It really has been a slow week. But again, Iran is potentially signals more talks. Iran may send a delegation this week for second round. Speaking anonymously, they expressed cautious optimism that both the U.S. and Iran could attend. Pakistan will not disclose details for security reasons. And they urged media to avoid speculation, noting the situation remains fluid. Yeah, again, there's two different factions, realistically. Like that, one side wants to get a deal done. That's probably the one Pakistan's talking to. The other side is pretty hardline, and then, you know, they are less willing to get a deal done, of course, if you pay attention to it. And so, I generally hope they get a deal done. We'll see. Again, I generally hope they get talks done, but we'll see if the market holds. It yields 11.5%. Yeah, it's good. It's good. I mean, 11.5% is very good. It's definitely riskier than holding. You know, the thing about like the Nasdaq, the S&P, the Dow is like you sit on equities. Long term, they're incredibly stable. S&P, Nasdaq, Dow, they're going to go up long term, almost certainly. You know, they might crash in between and pull back and have all these things happen to it. That's why they're called risk-on assets. But long term, they're going to go up. And so you just gotta, if you're holding long term, meaning decades, indices are probably what you want to do. Short term, I mean, look, you can speculate and buy individual stocks, and that's fine too. It depends on your experience level. Definitely a little riskier buying some stocks, but also bigger risk, bigger reward in that logic. STRC somewhere in the middle, I would say. It pays 11.5%, which is right around what S&P, Nasdaq, Dow are going to pay on an annual basis. But the S&P, Nasdaq, Dow, that's not guaranteed with this tech. It's a little riskier. All right, guys. Yeah. So again, here is gold. Gold's pushing back higher here, though. Gold's at 48.20s right now. Gold had this big string of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 green candles for gold. So gold had 13 green candles. Pushed all the way up to 48.30s. Although, again, all-time high on gold is 5,600s. We're still, a ways. Percentage-wise, we can take a look at this for gold. But on a percentage basis, gold is what? 56.27 is what we're around to. For gold, 56.27 is the all-time high. It's at 48.27s. So on a percentage basis, gold is about 14.5% away from all-time highs. The Dow currently sits at 49,400s here. All-time high on the Dow is 50,600s. So the Dow is still about 2.5% away from all-time highs. Oil, I mean, obviously on a percentage perspective, is pretty far away from all-time highs that it made at the start of this conflict. It's settling down a little bit, but it's still gapped up over the weekend. No tweets feels like a bad day. I don't know. I think we could trend sideways if we don't get tweets. Yeah, the Dow's up for sure. Over the last few minutes, or over the last week or two, really. Put up a 20-day chart. The Dow's definitely up. It was at 46s. It's at 49s, almost 50 now. We get back over 50. I mean, optimism is going to be there for sure. 50's not that far away either. Here's 50K right here on the Dow, so we can definitely hit that if things start to go well this morning. But yeah. Piper Sandler also said we have a highly fragile technical foundation at all-time highs. A lot of people are worried about bull traps. Do you guys think we're in a bull trap? Put yes or no in the chat. Let me know. Are we in a bull trap right now? I don't know. The president offered $20 billion, but it was more like, it's not like he was giving them cash straight. It's not like he's going to say, here, take $20 billion. Like, no, he was going to unfreeze their own $20 billion. Is what it was. So I asked people, are we in a bull trap? Ask people, are we in a bull trap? Amin says yes. Chris says no. John says yes. Risk says no. Avid says yes. Bruce says yes. Clint says yes. No. 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 Taco trap, not a bull trap. No. Check the NASDAQ. I mean, the NASDAQ is filling some of the gap here. Chris says yes. Juan says, I don't know, the buyers won't stop. Maybe yes. Major bull trap. Yes. Elvis says yes. Yeah, so MicroStrategy apparently just bought a bunch of Bitcoin. Yeah, so MicroStrategy did just buy a bunch of Bitcoin here. So they bought 34,164 Bitcoin for a total purchase price of 2.54 billion here. So here's the MicroStrategy news. We'll put it up on screen so you can see it. This is the news right here. You look at it right here. MicroStrategy purchases 34,000 plus Bitcoin for a total purchase price of $2 or 2.54 billion as of April 19th. Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin generally moves in a macro way with everything else. Yeah, Tesla's starting to pop back too. What's up, Chef? And just looking at economic data, we don't have much today. Tomorrow we have retail sales. Thursday we have jobless claims, unemployment filings, and flash services and manufacturing PMI on Thursday at 9:45. Friday we got Michigan consumer sentiment data. The last time it did kind of move markets more than we're used to. Next week we got a little bit heavier data. We got the Fed decision on Wednesday next week, CP consumer confidence and Case-Shiller on Tuesday. Thursday we got jobless claims, GDP data, Q1 GDP for the first time. It's expected at 0.5%. 0.5% for Q1. This is the first time we're going to get a look at Q1 data for GDP, so it will be a little bit more relevant. I also saw somebody talk about this yesterday, where what they asked is, what happens if GDP comes lower? Let me see if I can find it. Hold on. Yeah, they said, what happens if GDP comes in lower? I gotta find it now. Yeah, I might have missed it. But yeah, what they asked is, what happens if GDP comes lower than before in Q1 2026 than Q4 of 2025? Then it's definitely a weak sign. Right now it's expected at 0.5%, which is what we showed up as, I think, for GDP, right? What did we show up for the last GDP report? Oh no, I'm sorry. Let me see what's expected next week. It wasn't 0.5%. I think it's expected to show up much higher than 0.5% actually next week. So last time showed up at 0.5. This one drops, I think, Thursday. Yeah, so GDP last time was 0.5. I don't see what it's expected at. We do have PCE inflation data for March when the conflict started, and PCE is what the Fed uses to gauge inflation. So it's the personal consumption expenditure. We can look at headline PCE to see where oil has influenced inflation on a relative to March. And I'm still watching breaking news here to see what happens, but Michael Saylor's buy Bitcoin for $2.54 billion is really what's dominating headlines right now. Kind of flat in markets, all things considered. Oh, the Warsh hearing is tomorrow. That's right. Yeah, Tesla has earnings this week. We'll see. Tesla is moving a little bit right now as well. Here's Tesla. 398s. Tesla's starting to rebound. It's been downward trending since December, but it's starting to get back up there. Let's see if it can hold over $400. I think we hit 50K on the Dow sooner than we think. Yeah, I mean, the Dow's pretty close to that. I mean, if we start to push up to all-time highs in other indices or indexes, Dow's pretty close. I mean, 50K is right here. So if we go green on the day and start to run, Dow could definitely hit that. Again, I think that's what that's going to look like today, though, guys, is that's going to look like more confirmation and talks happening this week with Pakistan, or with Iran through Pakistan. I think that's probably what would move markets back higher. And maybe people just get optimistic today. We don't know. We're close to all-time highs. We broke all-time highs last week. And so we'll see. We'll see what we get. But we are filling some of that gap on the Dow. Maybe I'll skip one tech company and DCA into MicroStrategy. Hey, good luck. Yeah, the Warsh hearing is tomorrow. So we'll see what that looks like also, see if that moves anything. They confirm Warsh. People might be optimistic for dovishness, and that might boost markets back up. There's been a lot of worry that he wouldn't get confirmed. So... Oh, yeah, the new PDT rule. Yeah, the new PDT rule is in effect now. A lot of big platforms have now officially, like, implemented it. So. So now you can get basically instant margin. Let me check this here. Hold on. Yeah, there's the Dow. Yeah, I'm trying to see if like most major platforms now offer this. Yeah, let me get the... Yeah, I heard Robinhood was going to. Or no, Webull. I think Webull has implemented it yet. They have what, like 45 days to implement it? So, yeah, Hassett speaking. Yeah, so Hassett said Trump's posts reflect progress on Iran. Where's Hassett speaking at right now? Probably on some type of news. So Hassett is speaking right now. At 9 a.m. Central, there's a Supreme Court hears case on securities law. Oh, interesting. I gotta change this song. It's a little bit too much. What do you think about gold right now? I think gold's interesting. I mean, look, gold. It might try to go green on the day. It just depends on what happens here. Markets are kind of flat right now. All right, so Iranian President Pezeshkian says, quote, Iran will try to end the war with integrity, wisdom, and expediency. India's oil minister says the fire at the crude distillation unit at HRRL refinery has been brought under the control. And again, Hassett's speaking somewhere here. It might be posting. But we're covering that as well as it happens here for Hassett. But all Hassett said so far is that Trump's posts reflect progress on Iran. And I think markets are kind of pricing that in too. Here's oil. But again, a lot of stuff's still very flat. We have some ranges we can watch to break here. You know, I think the range clearly from this future session. We have this range on oil to pay attention to. On the NASDAQ here, we could look a little bit deeper into some of this, but higher lows in the NASDAQ here. So we do have higher lows. Let's see if those higher lows hold. But very flat in the NASDAQ, very flat and sideways, just not really doing much. Let's watch the 200 exponential. 200 EMA is right around 700, a big psychological level right here as well. So we're going to look at that also. Hey, Seth comments. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to get that, bro. All right, so the Trump administration is just going to begin refunding $166 billion in tariffs, according to the New York Times. Yeah, I don't know about what trades. I'm just gonna wait and see. I'm gonna look for the Nasdaq to break out of this range some here, but I kind of have to wait for it. I don't know if it's necessarily easy trades to get into right now. I think I kind of have to wait for it. I'll look for a break short term in this range, and if we get over highs here at what 733 or so, maybe we'll take some more. But I would need like a high break and then maybe a I need a high break and then maybe like a pullback or something like that to fill the gap to the upside here. But again, it's one of those days where I have to be paying attention to the news coming out. You know, here's where the gap fills right here on the Nasdaq. So I might be waiting for something like that. Like if we can move over some of these highs and momentum follows us, you know, maybe we'll get some movement like this and fill the gap, and that might be like a big event markets are waiting on potentially. If we look at the S&P 500, you got a similar dynamic here. You know, the rest of the gap would be, we could also do the opposite, right? Well, we could also start coming back down and fading down. And in that case, I'm going to be watching, you know, one of the lows from yesterday's Sunday session here. So here's the NASDAQ. If that happens, you know, this low right here from yesterday is going to be relevant. This low is right around, what is this? 70.83s or so. So, yeah, I mean, if we start heading down and testing this low, let me make this a little bit larger. You know, the gap fill on the upside is at 71.64. So you can see this light blue line is kind of the top of that range. So that's kind of what I'm looking at here. The S&P and the NASDAQ. We're starting to get some strength though. So maybe we'll hold. But again, what I want is a gap fill of some sort on the upside or downside is really what I'll be paying attention to. And I'll probably try to attack a range leading up to some of these levels here on the S&P. You know, it's at around 71.64s, because I think if bulls get control today, you know, that's where we're going to get a little bit more interesting here. If bears get control today on the downside, you know, we start to break under this level, which is the Sunday low from yesterday's open, then, you know, we might get a little bit more momentum, but I have to kind of wait for those. We might get some trades in between there. EU said to warn Balkan hopeful reforms needed to access funds. We got some other news. But yeah, Michael Saylor buying over 34,000 Bitcoin. The new rule for day traders, Clint, is that again, prior to, you know, this rule change, in order for day traders to trade actively, meaning more than 3 times per rolling 5-day period, basically more than 3 times a week, prior to this, day traders needed to have $25,000 if they wanted to day trade a margin account, which means instant settlement. You know, so prior, if you want to basically day trade and get instant settlement and be able to get in and out quickly, you know, over and over again, you needed 25 grand or more, which is a ridiculous rule because most new traders don't have risk management. So you force them to trade a $25,000 account, they're probably going to lose that 25K account. You know, that's just kind of what's going to happen most of the time. It's like making a new driver drive a Rolls Royce only. You know, it's stupid, dumb. It doesn't make sense. Really, the T3 rule allowed the banks to sit on your money a little bit longer is really what it was. And so it would just negatively impact traders. Traders would end up taking too big of size, or they would be so severely restricted they wouldn't get to do it at all. And to be fair, most day traders are going to lose. Like, doesn't matter what course you take, doesn't matter who you follow, variance is really, really high in day trading. And the more you zoom out, the less variance there is. All the way to long-term investing, which is very, you know, best statistical edge in markets is long-term investing. The shorter you go, the more variance there is. But the point remains, though, forcing new traders to day trade with 25 grand is what the PDT rule did. They recently got rid of that rule, and now brokers have, 40 to 45 days to implement those changes and let people basically day trade. I think the new rule is $2,000 versus 25K previously. So now, if you have over $2,000 in your account moving forward, you're going to be able to actively day trade. So it makes sense. Makes sense. I think this should have been done a long time ago. And yeah, makes sense. Again, if we look at the Strait of Hormuz traffic here, here's the Strait of Hormuz traffic. 8 ships. Strait status, according to the site, is restricted since April 17th, 2 days ago. 8 ships have transited in the last 24 hours. 280 remaining, waiting. The war risk insurance is extreme. But we'll see what talks do here. We'll see what happens with talks. When you say day traders lose money, do you mean actually losing money or just underperforming the SPY? No, I mean most day traders like literally go negative. You know, it's not about just underperforming the SPY. Most day traders just lose. Again, it doesn't matter what course you take, who you follow. You look at people online, they're gonna like. Here's one of the issues I have with a lot of people that market day trade is that the variance is high. The variance is high, and so you see a lot of people online acting like it's just easy money. Like you just buy their course, you follow their strategies, you're gonna make money. You know, is what they tell you. The reality of it is most day traders are going to lose. Again, it doesn't matter what course you take, who you follow, you're probably going to lose day trading. That's why prop firms make sense, because most day traders are going to lose anyway. And so you might as well give them a cheaper way to lose, and they can learn how to trade, or they can learn how risky it is and not risk too much of their own money. Again, if you want to use my coupon code, shameless plug, you can. Here's Lucid. I use Lucid a lot. Great way to learn. Again, most day traders lose. But it makes sense to limit that risk. The base one on Lucid, I think, is like $70 if you use my link. It's kind of like a middle ground between paper trading and real money. If you fail, you only lose that $70 though, versus funding 2, 3, 4, 5 grand and losing that. Like most day traders end up doing. It just makes sense. If you pass the test, they fund you. If you fail, you lose a very small amount. And I think that makes sense. Small is relative, of course, but I think that makes sense. If you want to check it out, they are an affiliate of mine. I am biased. I get paid by them, so I'm naturally biased. But you can check them out right here. Again, use coupon code BGT on all major ones. You'll get the max discount. Yeah, I'm starting to understand VU. The SPY ETF? Or the S&P 500 ETF? Can I trade freely today in Webull? I don't know. I would reach out to them, Augustin. I'm not 100% sure if Webull. I saw news that Webull was implementing it. I think Webull is one of the ones that allows you to do it now, but I'm not 100% sure. I would reach out to Webull. Yeah. You're on a treadmill? What are you talking about? My legs jumping? Well, that's just ADHD and coffee, you know. Don't judge me, you know. Big Gary talks money with SpongeBob. That's it. That's it right there. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, demo trade is probably a good move too. Yeah, June is when it's expected to take effect. I wonder how many brand new traders do well in demo. Honestly, look, I had when I first started trading, that's what happened. You know how it goes in a demo account. Everybody knows this. Anybody that's traded the demo understands exactly what I'm about to say. All right, you trade a demo account, and you've got like they give you like what 300,000 in buying power. You're rich in demo money, and so you get in a trade. You're like, you know what? Let me just add to this loss. Boom, you add to the loss. It keeps going down. You're like, you know what? I got 250K. We just add a little bit more. You add a little bit more, boom, it goes in your favor. You immediately take profits. You see a bunch of fake profits. You're up $6,000 in 5 minutes. You're like, dude, I can do this. It's like, no, you just got a huge bankroll relative to your trading. That's what happens. Everybody knows that's what happens. You know, you just keep adding the losses. You know, guaranteed win. You know, before you know it, you built up 30K and you're like, dude, I can do this with real money. No, you can't. do it with real money. Unless you got 250K sitting around. And even still, it's kind of like the martingale roulette strategy. Martingale roulette strategy basically says just double your size every bet until you win. And so statistically, you'd have to lose like 6 or 7 times to actually lose. And most people are like, oh, well, that's never going to happen. Yes, it will happen. Statistically, it will happen, and you will lose everything you have plus more. And so, same thing with trading. You can add the losses, and sometimes it's going to work out. You keep doing it, eventually your whole account's going bye-bye. You know? And so just be smart. Be smart. But I do think, like, let me, just to clarify, I do think demo trading is very useful in a lot of ways, right? Demo trading is useful because it allows you to practice entries and exits and strategies. You know, it teaches you the basics. You just can't treat it like it's a real money account, like you're going to translate those skills over to real money, because that's not going to happen. You trade real money, you're going to have emotion. And, you know, you're not going to have the size you did, probably. And you shouldn't have the size you did, because then you're risking way too much. And so... yeah, that's what happens, guys. That's what happens. All right. Let's be serious. Hassett said Trump said Iran peace talks will happen. Again, Hassett did say Trump said Iran peace talks will happen. He said the UAE is a valuable ally and Besant would help if needed. But the other big news, again, is that the current administration is going to begin refunding $166 billion in tariffs that were reduced. You know, if you remember, a couple months ago, they reversed the IEEPA tariffs, the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, I believe is what it stands for. They reversed it, and now they're going to potentially have to begin refunding $166 billion in tariffs. Businesses can file claims through a new customs system to recover duties paid on this. And so, yeah. That's happening as well. Yeah, CPI does not come out in 1 minute, sir. I'm gonna start banning people like for whatever reason every day we've gotten people that have said like the wrong things. Like they're not even saying true things. They're just kind of saying stuff. So again, we are gonna start just banning those people. I'll put them in timeout, actually. Probably a better move. Yeah, CPI is definitely not coming out. Oh, maybe. See, now I feel bad. I put them in timeout, but apparently we have Canadian CPI is dropping at 8:30 right now. I retract my previous statement, bro. You were... Let me... Can I take him out of timeout? I guess not. Sorry, dude. I didn't mean it, bro. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it, dude. Okay, Canadian CPI just dropped. It showed up at 2.4% year over year versus 2.5% expected. A little bit lower than expected Canadian inflation data. I don't think it's going to move markets, really. But again, year over year for March, 2.4 versus 2.5%. Month over month, 0.9 versus 1.1% for March for Canadian CPI data for March here. Now, markets are moving up a little bit. I don't know if this is from the Canadian CPI data, but markets are moving up a little bit. I didn't mean it, bro. I didn't mean it. I'm sorry I banned you. You should be back? Okay. All right, good. But yeah, Canadian CPI a little bit lower than expected. Slightly lower. It's for March, so we didn't really see headline CPI jump for Canada. 2.4 versus 2.5%. 0.9% on the month, though, which is pretty high on the month. 1.1% expected, though, so we did show up lower than expected. So, yeah, I pulled a taco. I guess so, man. I'm sorry, dude. I didn't mean it, bro. I didn't mean it. You're not banned anymore. I'm like, how dare this guy give out the wrong thing, telling me CPI is dropping in 1 minute. And then we did have Canadian CPI. It's not... When I hear CPI, I assume it's the United States inflation data. But it's all right. It's all right. Jocko? Yeah. Fair. Fair. I did it. Yeah. targeted for Canadian ban, but also should have specified. He should have specified, you know, but I was probably a little bit too quick with it. You know, I'm like Wyatt Earp, dude, you know. Like, we ban and ask questions later over here. I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. And then I feel bad about it. Again, Canadian CPI a little bit lower than expected. It didn't really move markets. Yeah, it didn't really move markets. And honestly, the volume's a little bit light still. But again, Canadian CPI showed up a little bit lower than expected. To be fair, John, this is the U.S. market. I'll cover other markets, though. I will cover other markets. It depends on, for me, it depends on if it will influence our market. Like, there's a while we were covering Bank of Japan decisions when Bank of Japan was getting really hawkish and, you know, they had maintained a negative interest rate for so long, and that created the carry trade dynamic. And then once they started to get a little bit more hawkish and restrictive and less favorable interest rates, people started unloading U.S. positions that they bought that were backed by the Japanese yen. And it was just, so the point is, I'll cover it if it moves markets. Canadian CPI data, you know, I love the land of Canada, all right? But the Canadian data doesn't move markets, not really. Shout out to my Canadians out there. Yeah. John's retrace, I know, man, I know. I retraced fast there. I'm sorry, guys, I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. It was worth it just for the laughs. Yeah, you know, listen. I love some poutine, bro. Give me some poutine. Canadians, I'm your friend. You know, I can appreciate Canada. You know? Max. Isn't Blaze from Canada? You and Blaze are gonna fight, Max. You know? You abuse power and are hurting people, child. Why? I'm sorry, dude. It's spinning out of control. I didn't mean it, dude. I didn't mean it. It spins out of control so fast here, man. You know? Alright, so Kuwait declares force majeure on oil shipments on Hormuz. Again, they announced force majeure on oil exports due to a halt in shipments through the Hormuz Strait. And again, we did get news reported from the Pakistani Interior Minister saying that the Interior Minister discussed with the Iranian ambassador the arrangement for the second phase of talks to come in. So, if we do get updates on that, maybe it'll be optimistic for markets today. And again, I am kind of thinking about going long here, kind of. Hey, buddy, I'm from Canada. If you were really from Canada, I think you would have said bud. Hey, bud. I'm from Canada, eh? You know? So I don't believe you. Yeah, Britt's not here today. I'm sorry. He had a doctor's appointment. Again, make him feel really bad tomorrow when he shows back up. All right, so an American plane arrives at Nur Khan Air Base near Islamabad. With love from Toronto. Hey, thank you, Jason. I appreciate it. We got any Canadians here? I like Canada. Canada's a beautiful country. The more north you go, it's kind of cold, but beautiful country. Yeah, you gotta make it feel bad. All right, Nasdaq's starting to break the top of this range here. We're up to the 26,730s here. 26,730s. Let's see if we hold. Yeah, I am. There's the Canadians. Hey, bud. You guys going to the store, eh? Hey, bud. No, what is that, in Alberta? I don't know. My accents are good. Again, like I said, anytime I try to do an accent, I just end up going Australian somehow. Like, no matter what accent I'm trying to do, I eventually just kind of pivot to Australian. It never works out. Yeah, so. I try. But I'm not that good at it. Again, so a Pakistani source saying Tehran's hardline stance is, quote, posturing to extract maximum advantage when a second round happens, according to talks with the FM spokesperson. So again, Pakistani sources say that Tehran's hardline stance is just posturing, essentially, is what they're saying. And again, we did get news a couple minutes ago that an American plane arrived at Islamabad, or close to Islamabad. I like Canada. Listen, look, I lived in Ontario for a long time. I dealt with some winters, you know, as a Louisianian, you know. Man, this range is terrible. It's terrible. The range is boring here. We're just not really doing anything. Yeah, I'm hoping we get good action. It's just kind of boring right now, guys. Like, I could buy a dip here, but I'm looking at this range. Let's trade a little bit. I'll trade. Yeah, there's nothing to do. I was bored. Really, I didn't live in the Sioux. I lived in like a bordering mountain town. Yeah, we're pulling back a little bit here. Let's look at oil. How many Canadians make up your audience? I would say probably like 5%. Again, we got news that Pakistani sources say Tehran's hardline stance is posturing to extract maximum advantage when a second round happens. So, here's the oil. Again, we got to look at like Nvidia today. Nvidia almost to $200 a share. It was over $200 on Friday. And I think $200 is obviously a very relevant level here for Nvidia. Look at $200 right here. It rejected right off of that. I think a lot of traders are watching 200. Yeah. So again, we're close enough here. We're close enough. Here's 200s. So we're here. I'm from Quebec, English Canada. Is it like a beef between like French Canadians and English Canadians? Is there like issues there? I'm assuming there is, you know. Yeah, Netflix is down. I don't know if I want to buy Netflix here. I really don't. Reasonable enough pullback. It just depends on how well they're going to execute live sports. They're getting more deals for live sports. So I'm looking at Netflix. So we'll see if we hold. But again, Amazon has been on a tear too, man. Amazon at 250s. I'm not going to say I told you guys I liked Amazon, but I definitely told you guys I liked Amazon. And now Amazon is way up there to 250s. So we'll see if that holds too. But man, look at Amazon. 250 plus. Looks strong. It's down a little bit on the day, but 250 I think is that level here. We got the previous closing price right above us. Here's Apple stock. Apple stock has been really sideways as well for the last couple months here. Here's Alphabet. Alphabet almost back up to the highs that it made in early February at 340s right now, 340s. I like Rush. I like some of Rush. Am I like a super fan of Rush? Like I Love You Man movie? No. But they're alright. I don't know what they're talking about in their songs, you know. But they're alright. Where's Meta here? Meta's been volatile too. Meta was all the way down at $500 at the end of March. It's now up to almost 700s here after doing some deals. CoreWeave has been rebounding a lot as well, but CoreWeave's so volatile in terms of price. Amazon workers are the ones that immediate threat to lose their jobs to automation. Yeah, I mean, I think that's gonna happen too. Yeah. Everybody likes Rush, apparently. That's cool. Like I said, I don't dislike their music. It's pretty good. Yeah. All right, guys. SPY up to 707s here. Let's see what happens here. Again, markets are interesting today. I think we got a really obvious ranges to pay attention to. I think we have really obvious ranges. If we look at the NASDAQ here, NASDAQ just recently popped over the top of some of this range here. So we'll watch it and see if it pulls back and holds. Is what I'm looking at right now. Yeah, we'll see if we hold. Tis but a scratch. Hey, be careful. But you got this, you know. I believe in you. All right, we're up to 26,740s right now. So here, we're getting some strength. Let me check breaking news here. Here's the NASDAQ start to rip. Maybe rip is a strong word. But Russia also removed flight restrictions to the United Arab Emirates, UAE. And maybe the news about an American plane arriving near Islamabad is good. Dude, Nickelback wasn't that bad, bro. They were widely hated. I like some of their songs. You know, everybody turned on them. But they were okay. Like, you know, do I want to listen to their music all the time? No. You know. Did they put out some bangers? Yeah. Like, some of their music was good. People just hated on them because it was the cool thing to do was to hate on Nickelback. Does the president tweet today, guys? I think that's one of the big questions. Does the president tweet today? I think that's going to move markets far more than it should. Does the president tweet today? Again, we got news earlier that an Iranian flag cargo ship nearly 900 feet long tried to get past the naval blockade in regards was struck. Apparently, he says we now have that vessel. U.S. Marines have custody of that vessel. And look at the NASDAQ start to jump a little bit. I don't really see any news. We're over this range. Fred Durst. I like some Limp Bizkit too. I grew up on Limp Bizkit and like all those neo rock bands. Like I grew up on like all of that stuff when I was a young pup. Again, the NASDAQ up to 26,740s. I mean, as a 30-something-year-old now, it's a little angry. You know, it's a little bit harder. I was talking to Britt about it the other day. It's really hard for me to listen to some of that music because I'm not that angry anymore. Like, I don't hate my parents right now. You know, I'm in my 30s. You know, maybe as a teenager, it's like, yeah. You know, like 3 Days Grace. Britt brought up 3 Days Grace. Like, I don't hate my parents. You know. It's harder to listen to that music now because I'm an adult. thought the blockade was only letting some ships through. I wasn't emo. I was never emo or goth. I just wasn't. You know, I was kind of like a skateboarder. You know, I wore skateboard shoes everywhere. I still do, kind of. I still wear Vans a lot. Yeah, the last time he tweeted was not that long ago, but it wasn't really market related. It was mostly just reposts about other stuff. None of it was really market moving. The last real tweet he made was almost exactly 24 hours ago, where he announced the striking of the ship that tried to pass through the strait. NASDAQ is jumping up a little bit here. We're at 750s right now, 750s on the NQ. New York Post is saying that Iran's refusal of second round of U.S. peace talks was posturing, again, according to a Pakistani source. So they're basically saying Iran's just posturing right now. In regards to them walking away from the deal or the meeting here. And again, look at the NASDAQ jump some. So the NASDAQ is jumping. We can see if this is Iran related, to see if oil is dipping down some. Oil's dipping slightly, but not as much as you might think. So maybe a little bit related to this. Nvidia's jumping. Yeah, so this is probably what it is. Look at Nvidia jump. So Nvidia over $200 a share now. Yeah. I wasn't quite that way, Chris. I was somewhere in between. You know. It just depends on which faction we're talking about. The math is not on side to have another green day in a row. The way it is crazy to think. I was never emo, bro. I never had emo. I was like preppy skateboarder. You know? More so. Is what I would call myself. Yeah, Bird. The company that went from trying to save the birds to pivoting to AI here, man. What a noble company this is, man. They're like, you know what? Let's save the birds and make clothing. You know what? Let's not do that. Let's pivot to let's be trillionaires and pivot to AI. They're up to 11 plus here, though. 11 plus. We'll see if it holds. I think the market is watching all birds right here. We'll see what happens. And regarding Iran, it really depends on which faction we're talking about. Adobe is unveiling agents for businesses amid threat of AI disruption. So again, they're teaming up with Microsoft, Anthropic, OpenAI, and NVIDIA here. Here's Adobe. So they're jumping up on this news. Again, they announced AI agents here. Doing a deal with Microsoft, Anthropic, OpenAI, and NVIDIA, according to the Wall Street Journal. You can see Adobe jump. It's at $250 a share now. Yeah, so Adobe, again, on the news, saying Microsoft, Anthropic, OpenAI, and NVIDIA are teaming up with them to unveil AI agents. This is the breaking news just now. Yeah. All right, guys, we are going to be day trading here. We are going to be day trading. We'll see what happens. Yeah, we'll see what happens here. Yeah, you know, Pawn made me this. Maybe this is the look I should go with here. You know. Is that me, guys? Should I go sing about the Black Parade here? Is this me? I think that is me right there, man. Look, I'm gonna show up tomorrow. I'm gonna look exactly like this. You know. My parents weren't fair, guys. They weren't fair, you know. That's me? I think that is me, man. Yeah, I show up to jujitsu like this. Strike fear in everybody around me. But yeah, Adobe, again, 250s right now. They're doing a deal with Anthropic, Microsoft, OpenAI, and NVIDIA. And again, here's the problem I have with Adobe. Is that Adobe, you know, you could use... Digital designers are really going to not even if they have AI agents and stuff like that, that's great. But are people going to find the need to go to those, to use those agents anyway? Like, if you can have digital designers already on most of the AI sites all in one, you don't have to, it's not necessarily meant for one thing. You can use it all in one. Obviously, Adobe's going to lose business. Now, the big question is, has Adobe pulled back enough to where it's still tempting to buy it? Maybe. It's down a lot. Was that almost $700 a share back in 2021? It's at 240s now, so it's pulled back a very, very large percentage relative to where it was. So yeah, Back to the Future was made today, and they went back to the 90s. I don't necessarily know if they would really see the difference. Like, I feel like he would show up in the 90s and be like, hey, everybody still dresses the same. What happened? You know? Like, I thought we went back in time. What happened? But yeah. I don't know if I want to buy Adobe here. It's at 250s. Maybe a small share size potential. All right, guys. Lightning funded on Tradeify, only $207. I'm gonna buy that right now. If you use my coupon code BGT, it's only $207. You know, I gotta do it. I gotta do it, right? Alright, guys. My billing address. Alright, dude. There we go. Sorry, I'm taking out... I'm getting a Tradeify direct-to-funded account right now. Again, coupon code BGT. I might buy this dip as well. It's only $207. All right. Buy the dip. Yeah, I'm thinking about buying this dip. It depends. I think we're over some of this range. And like maybe we can dip and then start to fill the gap on the upside. It's definitely a little riskier market right now just because you know, just because we don't know what markets are really gonna do here. We really don't. So I think it depends on what news comes out, but I think the risk of going long obviously is we get news coming out that somehow Iran is not going to be there for the negotiations. We got news that a U.S. plane landed near Islamabad recently. And so it really depends. Like, it really depends. We could have news come out that pushes it the other way, but I think for right now, I might buy this dip. So, we'll see. All right. What do you guys think? All right, guys. Let's be serious. All right. All right, I'm getting this account set up. Wait. Yeah, maybe I should have gone with the 50K one. Yeah, 9 a.m. scrum happens in 3 minutes. I would have bought this dip. Gotta check my email here. I'm trying to get this directive funded account set up for Tradeify. Good points. I'm gonna end this poll we got going on right now. Again, 53% bearish. The bulls kind of woke back up though. Do we close green on the day? Yes or no? Do we close green on the day? Yes or no? Vote on the poll. There it is right now. Do we close green on the day? Vote. Let me know how you guys feel. All right, so on our poll, 52% say no, 48% say yes. So mostly bears too. They think we do not close green on the day still. Tariff refund, I mean, I think it's not good necessarily. I think they're going to find ways to reverse it either way. So I don't necessarily think it's good. We have earnings coming out this week as well. So we have some earnings coming out, specifically Tesla and more. Next week is a little bit busier, I think, with earnings. And we also have the FOMC decision next week. So next week can get very busy as well. But I don't know if I want to buy this dip yet. Tesla target was raised. Jefferies analyst raised Tesla's price target to 350 from 300, kept a hold rating. Tesla's over that now though. Can I respond to your poll question with another question? Why would we close green today? I mean, I'm not saying we will, right? I think there's a couple of bull scenarios. Number one is it's looking more likely that talks happen. So if it looks more likely that talks happen, that's a situation in which we could go bullish on the day. Plus, I mean, markets are close to all-time highs. So markets are close to all-time highs. Okay. Yeah, so markets are close enough to all-time highs to be interesting. Now, we'll see if we hold or not, but markets are close enough to be interesting, I think. So sometimes when we get close to all-time highs, it can be like a bull dynamic where the bulls kind of pull us into that. All right, finally got our Tradeivate account. Yeah. Tradeify account. Again, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I think there's also a chance that talks disintegrate and we go the other way. I don't think it's necessarily easy. I think we're close enough to all-time highs, and we're starting to fill some of this gap to the upside. And so it really is one of those situations where I don't want to be too absolute in terms of what happens. I think either of these, outcomes could happen. And so we'll see what happens. But yeah, I don't know. I should have bought this dip here when it happened, though. I didn't. So I should have bought the dip. I did not. Now I regret it. Here's 750s. I mean, I could look for 730s here. It's not relevant since Hormuz. Yeah, Hormuz is the most relevant thing. Yeah, it's Brit's fault for sure. I don't think Iran... Well, it depends on which side we're talking about. I mean, neither side wants them to continue. One side's more stuck in the same... Like, stuck. One side's digging their heels in a little bit more. It depends on which side of the... There's multiple different factions. See, I wanted to buy this pullback too, man. I should have. Yeah. Yeah, I blame Brit too, guys. I mean, listen. It's his fault, for sure. Yeah, so here's the 9 a.m. scrum. We are getting some bullish action here. I don't really see any other breaking news. Google has created a strike team to enhance coding models, according to the information. Eli Lilly acquired another company, Kalania Therapeutics, for almost $7 billion in cash, expected to close in the second half of this year. Trying to see some other news breaking here, but I don't. Again, it is a Monday. The news is a little. Kuwait has declared force majeure on oil shipments as Iran closes the strait. Price prior to the Iran war, Kuwait was producing 2.5 million barrels per day. Yeah, I should have bought this dip. I just, What happens if everything... What happens if the war resumes? You think we'll get smashed or just a small correction? I think markets are getting a little bit more immune to it, but I do think we probably correct small. I don't necessarily think it's going to be some major correction if these talks break apart. It could. I mean, we definitely see something. So we definitely see something, but I don't necessarily think it's going to be some major crazy. Oil back up to 110s or something like that. Maybe, I think it's looking more optimistic. Stuff's going to get done. But I also think, again, markets have been conditioned to react less now just because every other day we're getting some type of big reversal or big push up, and markets are just kind of getting used to that dynamic. Yeah, it's definitely a quieter morning here. It's definitely a little bit more quiet. We're just not really moving that much. So... yeah, we'll see. I am going to put it in sub-only mode, guys. So we are going to put it in sub-only mode. We already are in sub-only mode. Man, dude. I don't know how to set this. It always changes. But... I bet the cost of one beer that there are no talks announced today. I can't really bet like that with people. I don't necessarily think you're wrong. I mean, I think we'll get word of talks happening, but it's not going to be set in stone until later. Is probably what we're going to get. Again, I don't know for sure, but that's what I'm assuming here. Is that like we'll get word of talks happening, but not necessarily hard dates yet. Ugh, guys, I wanted to buy this dip. I talked about buying the dip. I should have bought the dip. I blame you guys here. I wanted the dip. I went from voting bear to voting end of the day green within 2 hours. You're always in sub-only mode. I know. I coulda, shoulda, woulda. I know, guys. Listen, I'm kind of mad. I blame you guys, though. For whatever reason, it's your fault. It's definitely not my fault. I missed it. See what the market brings us here. We got 24 minutes until the market opens. We are going to day trade live today. We'll see what we get. But Anybody think we'll actually break all-time highs today? Here's a little dip here, though. I want to make sure this is not catalyst-driven. We are still right before the open. Kevin Warsh argues an AI-driven productivity surge could allow lower interest rates without stoking inflation. Economist Ed Yardeni disagrees. They said, while also bullish on productivity, said stronger growth would likely push the neutral rate higher, not lower. Cutting rates below that level, he warns, could fuel speculation and financial instability. Iran is reopening the main airports in the capital of Tehran, according to the Aviation Authority. All right, look at this pullback here, though. Do I buy this dip, chat? Let me know. What do you guys think? Yeah. All-time high today. Yes. Do I buy this dip, guys? Yes. I would. Buy it, Handsome John. Yes. No. Full port? No. Now the chat's telling me yes here. I don't know if I agree with you guys on this one, though. This one's a little dippy here. Yes. Still gap to be filled. Yeah, well. Yeah, let's see what markets do. Yeah, we're kind of keep dipping again. I don't know if I agree with you guys. Y'all are wrong here, man. This is, again, this looks catalyst driven. This is what this looks like. Oh, maybe y'all were right. Whoa, look at this. Look at this. Something just happened here. Chat, I was wrong. Y'all were right. Something just happened, though. Hold on. Let me see. Is this a tweet? Is the real question here. Is this a tweet? What do you guys think? Is this a tweet? Something is going on right now. Something's going on. I don't see anything right here. Emo John would have bought the dip. I know, man. Listen. Markets just popped over highs. Something just happened. I don't see any tweets out right now. So I don't think it's a tweet. Could this be a deal, maybe? Senior Iranian official to Reuters says Iran is positively reviewing participation in peace talks with U.S. No final decision has been made. Positive efforts are underway by Pakistan to end the U.S. blockade, ensure Iran's participation in talks. That is what's going on here. So again, we had news that a senior Iranian official told Reuters that positive efforts are underway by Pakistan to end the U.S. blockade and ensure Iran's participation in talks. Iran is positively reviewing participation in peace talks. No final decision has been made, is the news that's coming out right now. So again, no final decision has been made. Iran is reviewing. Yeah, I mean, I think this is good news, but it's not that good, and that's how markets are pricing it in. But it's looking a little bit more optimistic. Again, breaking news is this. Let's put this up. Yeah, so again, just to clarify, the news that just dropped is that a senior Iranian official said Iran is positively reviewing participation in peace talks with the United States. No final decision has been made yet. It's the catalyst here. This is what's going on right now. That's the catalyst. That's why we jumped up such a big margin here. The chat, y'all were right here, man. Y'all are right. You know, celebrate because you guys were right. I mean, it was completely luck, but you guys were right. I should have bought the dip. Iran wants the market to open and dump, and they will say that they will participate. Yeah, I knew it was catalyst driven for some, like, I knew it was some type of catalyst. So I knew markets were moving from some type of catalyst here. But it's not like a crazy big catalyst. It's just something, you know. Dang, man, I'm muted. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. What I was saying is this is the news driving markets. All-time highs up there is something that we're watching. We're watching this level here. Look at the previous closing price. It's pretty close to all-time highs. I know, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I'm back. We're here. I know. You can't hear me. I know. I was muted. Now I'm not. People get so upset I'm muted. They're like, bro, how could you be muted this long and not know? Y'all are right. I get it. I get it. Yell at me, guys. It's my love language. Just yell at me, you know. Nike, I don't know about Nike, man. I like Nike long term. Short term, I have no idea where it's going. Long term, I like Nike. Short term, I have no idea where it's going. We're at 46 right here, 46. Should I buy this pullback here, guys? I want to buy the dip. You know what? I'm buying it. We got 2 contracts. We're going to start very small, and then we're going to add to this if it goes in my favor. Here we go. It looks like we bought it at the top 3 best time to buy. Look at this. We got a nice little range here. We'll add to it if it goes green. Market opens up in 15 minutes. All right, it's going pretty good. There we go. Let's add a little bit to this size now. What, we'll take we're gonna jump in like this. 6 contracts. There we go. I believe in the bulls, guys. I believe in the bulls. We're getting closer to that previous closing price. And so I do want to hold to that previous close up there if we can get some good action here. I'll cut it under, man, we're pretty good. There we go. (13 to 14 minutes). I still have some time. Yeah, we got time. It's a little scalp though. We're early. I mean, look. It's looking really rangy ahead of the opening bell. Maybe we'll unlock some volatility as we get closer to the bell. It looks like it wants to push up, but it's really struggling there. It's running into a wall every time it does. So I might reduce my size a little bit here. And now we're basically out very small. We cut our size in half. Why is the market so rangy today? Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to hold it past the opening bell, though. This is still very early. And we're down very small on the day. I just didn't like taking max size here. Once it started to break down under 75s is kind of where I decided to cut half of this and just limit my risk and wait. Yeah, definitely the wrong dip. I should have gotten that first dip. That first dip was definitely better. Yeah, it's small now, but I'm gonna let 65 be my risk, and we're basically at that now. We have a low down there too, so that's good. Yeah, I mean, we're trading small here, guys. I'm not taking any huge positions. All right, guys, we got 12 minutes. Yeah, so apparently the ceasefire ends Wednesday. There's talks about whether the ceasefire is still in place to begin with, though, to be honest. So the ceasefire ends Wednesday. Again, there's question marks regarding whether the ceasefire is still in place. I think it is, and I think them potentially meeting with each other shows that it's at least somewhat still in place, but it's definitely slippier now. Again, the recent risk is that more details on the Pakistan call is going to be released later here. So that might be a bullish sign. Again, we're seeing that Iran says more details on Pakistan call to be released later. So maybe that's an optimistic thing regarding equities. I thought it ended Tuesday. I think it ended the 22nd. I don't even keep news or charts anymore, just Truth Social. Yeah, it looks like I'll probably have to cut this. We gave it a little while. Is the ceasefire in place? Put yes or no in chat right now. Let me know. So Iran held a call with Pakistan, and it's looking like they might try to meet with the United States anyway and get a deal done. Again, there's question marks about whether, it's going to hold either way. But that's what's going on right now. For now, yes, yes, yes. Most people think it's still in place. All right. We got into a little baby trade this morning. It's pretty small, all things considered. We got out the other half of this break even. But markets don't care. Yeah, I mean, I think markets are pricing it in already. We went up a lot last week, and so. All right, guys, opening bells in 9 minutes. 9 minutes. Let's see what happens. Thanks for shouting the news out as you do. Hey, thank you, sir. Appreciate the love. Thank you, man. We try. All right. Also, Trump said gas prices will drop as soon as the war ends. He said this last week, though, dismissing Secretary Wright's forecast that prices may stay above $3 a gallon until, later. Where's Bert? I'll be here tomorrow. He had a doctor's appointment today. Chat inquiry, why are rugs so expensive? I've never understood buying expensive rugs. I mean, I guess if you kind of have FU money, but it's a freaking rug. It's meant to protect the floor. All right, so we are almost going green on the day. Why spend 20 grand on a rug? It's just dumb, Like, what's the purpose of these rugs, Again, if you got the money and you don't have anything else to do with it and, you want to write off some business expense, put a rug in your office. I'm not mad at that. Reduce your taxable income. Do your thing. But if it's not to write off a business expense, all right, so we're almost green in the straight. Again, I'm sitting in it. We are green now. This is a big candle, though. Whoa. Did I just get really lucky? Let's see. Second round of talks between Israel and Lebanon will take place on Thursday in Washington, according to media. I'm going to just sit in this, I think, guys. Hopefully we don't chop until the opening bell. I do have to get out, so I will take any opportunity to get out. I'm not going to hold through the opening bell. We're going to reduce our size here. Yeah, we are green now, but we're not very green, and I can't really hold it through the opening bell, so... But again, second round of talks between Israel and Lebanon are apparently going to take place on Thursday in Washington. Spoken like a true dude. My wife's spending crazy money on rugs. Yeah, I mean, a rug's a rug, you know. I might buy a rug and never even notice it again, you know. I think some people argue there's resellable value, and maybe there is, you know. But I don't understand the market well enough to figure out which ones are legitimately resellable or which ones are just nonsense. Yeah, I mean, I'm green, but I'm basically flat. I feel bad even calling this a green trade because it's so small. Again, though, market on open's about to happen soon. I will get out of this basically flat if I need to. How much time we have? I have about 20 seconds until the market on open. Because of that, I'm gonna sell and just get out flat. If it runs, it runs, but I think the variance is too high. Also, the market on open brings, it should drop in about, what, 15 seconds, 10 seconds. So we'll see if getting out here was the right move. All right, guys. Let's see what the open market on open brings. All right, so we did get some movement from the market on open, but it's not a crazy amount. Let's see if we end up pushing back higher here. Okay, so New York Post says Vance and the U.S. delegation is going to land in Islamabad within hours. So more news about a potential deal. Yeah, more news about a potential deal. Well, no, there's 20 seconds until the market on open data, which is like volume data. And so I wasn't talking about the market on market opening. I was talking about the market on open. It's called the MOO. It's basically volume data that shows up 5 minutes before the opening bell. It's what this candle was from. So I'm not talking about the market actually opening. I'm talking about the market on open. So it's a little bit different. You know? Yes, the names are similar. Here's some news came out. Again, U.S. and Vance are supposed to meet, or are supposed to land in Islamabad within hours. Yeah, I'll accept your apologies now, guys. I'll accept them now. 3.5 minutes. All right, guys. So again, we're pretty flat. We're pretty flat. I mean, I don't know whether I should have exited that trade, but we are green now slightly in this account, so that's good. But I'm not really loving the price action right now. It's too iffy. I think it looks bullish. It looks like we might fill the gap on the upside, but it's also very possible that we just completely turn around the other way, that we start to dip down and kind of come back down here and hit some of those levels. So right now it's a news-driven market as it's been for the last couple months, and yeah, we'll see what happens here. But it's looking like we're going to meet with them at the very least. Again, Vance and the U.S. delegation. I heard over the weekend, we heard that Vance wasn't going to be there. And so over the weekend, we did hear that he wasn't even going to be there. And now it's looking like he's about to land within hours, apparently. Trump said, I am willing to meet with senior Iranian leaders if a breakthrough is reached, according to the New York Post as well. J.D. Vance and U.S. delegation are going to land within hours, as Trump tells the Post nobody's playing games. Do we get a deal with Iran announced this week, guys? Let me know. Put yes or no in chat. Do we get a deal with Iran soon? Let me know. We're at 26,800s here. 26,800s. I see no, no, yes. Marvell spiking. No. Most people say no. Yeah. So Google is apparently in talks with Marvell to build new AI chips for TPUs aiming to rival NVIDIA GPUs. So Google Marvell deal is what's pushing Marvell up. I should have held the dip buy, guys. I should have held the dip buy. I mean, we got a minute left until the open. Hit the live button next to the play button, put it in 2x speed. But we got about a minute until the opening bell. We'll see what we get. All right, we are pushing up. Let's watch 26,800s on the NQ. 26,800s makes sense to pay attention to. We'll see if it holds, but I think that's a level a lot of people are watching. 26,800s. We'll probably get 2 yeses and then 2 nos, maybe. Maybe we will. Vice President J.D. Vance and the U.S. delegation of the peace talks here with Iran are en route to Pakistan and expected to land within hours. The president told the Post on Monday today, adding that he is willing to meet with Iranian leaders if a breakthrough is reached. The Iranian deputy foreign minister also said America has no choice but to abandon the approach of excessive demands and to respect the rights of our people, end quote. NASDAQ is pushing up on this news. There's the opening bell here, guys. If that's delayed or late, hit the like button next to the play button, put it in 2x speed. The NASDAQ jumped up right at the opening bell. We're at 826s right now in the NQ, 826s. NVIDIA is dipping down some here, though. Oil is falling down some as well. The S&P 500 is pushing upward. It looks like we might go green on the day if the bullishness continues here. But so far, we are up since the opening bell, guys. We are green. It's a little early for me to trade. But markets are pushing higher here on renewed optimism for U.S.-Iran talks. And we'll see what happens, guys. We'll see what happens. NASDAQ still pumping higher here. Yeah, look at the NASDAQ jump right now. $826s right now, $826s. Now we're dipping down here. So first bullish action. Let's see if we again, it's too early for me to trade. I gotta wait 4 minutes to trade. 4 minutes. We'll see what happens, but I gotta wait 4 minutes to trade. We'll see. But we are dipping down some now. Long or short right now. Look at this red candle showing up here, guys. This could be on those quotes I just said here. Let's see what else. Definitely some red action here. Again, Iran's deputy minister said America has no choice but to abandon the approach of excessive demands and to respect the rights of our people, end quote. NASDAQ did dip a little bit. We're at 26,760s right now. Again, it's too back and forth to really make a prediction here. I am going to be day trading this. I got to wait 5 minutes before I do, though. Yeah, so we'll see. We are red right now. I wait 4 minutes is my rule. I've always waited 4 minutes. I try to wait 5. It just depends. Some red action showing up. Here's 750s. The 200 exponentials right here. We might bounce the 750s. Again, we're only 2.5 minutes into the day, though, so we're too early for me to take trades. I got to wait 4 or 5. But we did just bounce it right around 750s. It's too close to the bell. How would you explain why the waiting after the opening bell? Easiest way to put it is there's more variance after the open. It's riskier to trade. Like, it's harder to gauge trends. There's less market price action with volume to explain things and to make a good bet or trend. And so it's better in this context to just kind of sit around and wait and let the trend form, let the range play out, so forth and so on. I see people mentioning AMD in the chat, and yeah, AMD's up to 285s right now. So look at AMD here. So AMD is jumping. NVIDIA has fallen since the opening bell. Meta is down. Microsoft is slightly red. Google is red. Amazon is red. So most Mag 7 stocks are actually red since the opening bell, and obviously that's why the NASDAQ is dipping here. I'm tempted to buy this dip. How much? We're 3 minutes into the day. I can't do it. All right, so we are popping higher here. Again, it's too close to the bell. I can't quite trade it yet. All right, so we did. I should have bought the dip. I wanted to buy the dip, but it's a little bit too close to the bell here. So we did get more news. The Lebanese parliament speaker says there is a U.S. effort to extend the ceasefire between Lebanon and Israel, according to some sources. So there's a U.S. effort to extend the ceasefire between Lebanon and Israel. Israel to be represented by ambassador to the U.S., according to an Israeli source. But yeah, maybe an extension there. This is getting bought up. Is the music too high, guys? Let me know. Put yes or no in chat. When I speak, the music should go down, just based off of how I have the settings. I am bearish, so the market is bullish. Yeah, I gotta wait. We are close to highs here, though, so I might look for a pullback to buy, but I think it's too late. We're over 800s now. We dipped down to like 795. Maybe I'll buy this dip, but we're too close to highs. All right, here goes the momentum. It looks like we're gonna break highs of the day. We're very close to it. If we get a pullback to like 795s right here, I might buy it. Very small, but it looks like we're gonna break highs at this point. We're so close to highs. Give me 795s. Alright, that's close enough. I'm gonna buy this dip. I just want to move up there to test this level here. There we go. Yes, sir. Alright, we're gonna take half off. See if we can ride this other piece up and then maybe add to it if we start to really run. But we're green nonetheless. We'll see if we can get a little bit better here. We're just scalping this, to be honest. I wanted 795s. We got about 800, so it's close enough. Here's 795s, though. We just tapped it. Do I want to add back size at 795s? I think so. All right, we're back up. See if we push. There we go. Yep. Took a little bit off there, too. Give myself a little bit better entry. There we go. Looks good. Looks good. All right, I love you.
Love you.
So we keep popping. We got a nice little range here, though, so we could cover and break even if we really want to, but I want to give it a chance to bounce. It's going to be in that high volume area. I don't want to see it start to trend down here, and I think we could. So I'm going to cut it right there and just wait. Basically flat on the day now. It's fine. Music is fine. No, it's not too loud. Okay. Might have gotten stopped out at the lows here, but that's all right. I am bullish on this too. Let's see if we can jump back in here. Maybe a little greedy on my part, but I think it looks good. Yeah, there we go. There we go. I can see when I get stopped out quickly here, right? So like if I get faked out, I can see it happen. Let's see if we can get to the highs now. There we go. We can hold this break even if it turns. Which it kind of is. I don't like this either. I'm going to get out flat on that one too. I just don't like it. We'll get back in heavier size once the range plays out a little bit cleanly here. Right now, I don't know if this is good. Hey, thank you for the donation, brother. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. I don't know how much that is. It's $14. Thanks so much, man. I appreciate it. It looks like we're going to bounce here, though. It really does. Like, if we look at Amazon starting to dip, so we do see some Mag 7 stocks start to dip down here. Yeah, it's just kind of flat here, to be honest. Like, I want to give it a chance to run. But we got close highs of the day and then reversed. We're still somewhat rangy here, though. I'm looking at NVIDIA. NVIDIA's starting to rebound. Tried to go back over 200. It's now pulling back to some of these big milestone areas. And so we'll see if we hold down here or not now. All right, market's starting to turn. Let's see if there's any breaking news to justify this. IEA's Bureau says IEA oil reserves could be tapped again if needed. So far, pretty rangy here, though. Let's take a look at the SPY. Here's the SPY. We're so close to highs, though. I am optimistic we could bounce, but we still got a ways. There's the NASDAQ. Is this a bull trap, guys? Let me know. Red's still showing up here, though. Here's the 200 exponential here. Let's see if we bounce right there. It's right here at 730s. They're trying to manipulate the market. I like the fact that Iran doesn't want to say that it'll participate. I mean, we're starting to get some red here. Maybe we'll short if we get some good enough setups. We're right at the 200 exponential, though. This level right here could be a bounce area. It looks bearish right now, though, to be honest. Yeah, here's the 200 EMA. See if that holds us up. Yeah, so we bounced at the 200 exponential. I'm worried about us coming back down, though. We could hold. I'm optimistic, but not that optimistic. Took profit a couple of thousand. I'll chill for a bit now. Hey, good luck, my friend. Let's see what happens. Again, I'm kind of toward here. We're right at the 200 EMA. It looks like the bulls could be in control, but markets could also be pricing in reduce odds of talks, right? So right now we're just going to see if the market can stabilize here and build up some steam and then make another push up, or if we start to break under the 200 exponential here, you know, we'll see what happens there. But yeah, I'm looking. Buyers trying to hold the low. Yeah, if we hold over the 200 exponential, that's great. I'm watching breaking news to see what happens here, but yeah, they're talking about oil volatility right now. So See if we can prop this up. What do you guys think? Bull or bear right here? Bull or bear? Y'all think we're going to continue reversing or head back up relative to where we are now? Looks like we want to go higher here, but I think we're also kind of slowing down over the last 4 minutes. I was trying to hold a low. Bear? Bear? We've had 4 minutes of sideways consolidation here, and now we're starting to get higher. But it's... every time it gets up here, it struggles. Let's see if it pops. But every time it gets up here, it kind of struggles a little bit, it seems. I want to see if we pop up here. Again, I'm just trying to wait to see if we get some better price action. But we're kind of sideways. Shout out to Blaze for telling me we're muted. Buyers going nowhere. Bull. PA is active. We're holding a little bit, but I think if we, like, here's the dynamic here, right? So we have this last 4 or 5 minutes of chop. If we break over this, it's optimistic, obviously. If we get underneath here, though, bears might really pick it up. We have the VWAP down there, but if we do not hold the 200 exponential and in turn start to break, again, bears might really pick it up. We'll see. But we really have about 5 minutes of chop right now. 10 minutes of chop. Let's see if these numbers hold. It's really getting a little bit longer than this. Yeah, what I do know is if we break it, when we finally break out of this little tiny range we've been in, you know, that's when we might really make some moves. Let's see. Yeah, we'll see. Also, guys, if you haven't already, check out Lucid. Again, Tradeify, honestly, really good. They have the Lightning funded for Tradeify. So if you look at Tradeify here, Tradeify allows you to go, let me make sure this is right. Yeah, Tradeify gets you immediately funded, straight to funded in Tradeify. And you can get a 50K straight to funded on Tradeify for $295, which is very cheap. If you look at this here, here's Tradeify. Let me get these charts out the way. If you look at this, direct to funded on Tradeify, you can get a 50K, $295 if you use my coupon code BGT at checkout, BGT. You can also use it on Lucid. Lucid is great as well. Take profit, super beginner friendly. You can find the links to all this stuff in the description. 90% off sale. I think for Apex ends the day after tomorrow, or maybe it's tomorrow at midnight. But again, Tradeify direct to funded, Lightning funded 50K, $295. Very cheap relative to most of the other ones out there. So, yeah, if you want to check it out, I'll put that link up here. Great way to help support the channel. I appreciate it. But right now, I'm waiting for this range to break, and then we'll do something. Yeah, I'm going to wait for this range to break, and then we'll do something, but I got to wait. So far, it's looking a little bearish, but markets have been really just pricing a lot of, like, chop in. Here's the link if you want to check it out. Great way to help support the channel. I appreciate the love. Yeah, there's the Tradeify link. I'll pin the link to the top of the page. But so far we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 choppy minutes here. 9. Very boring. Nothing's really going on here, and markets are just kind of going sideways. We've got the 15-minute orb though in play. So the 15-minute orb breakout pattern is in play. We'll see if it holds. But bears and bulls are kind of sideways right now. Where is my music? Got too many windows up here. All right, so there we go. We did get a break on the top side here. Let's see if it's just a trap, though. That's what I'm worried about, too. Where's my music? I got my music somewhere. Yeah, look at that trap that just formed. Big retracement back down here. Yeah, look at this drop showing up. Wow. A little bit of a breakdown here. We're still at the 200 exponential, but like I said, bears could be in control down to the VWAP at 700s if this doesn't hold. Right now, we're just getting hit with a lot of chop, to be honest here. It's just not really easy price action. I mean, things look kind of bearish now that we broke, but we trace completely back up, so I don't know, man. We'll see. Iran says U.S. not serious about talks. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of given here. Yeah, we're sitting tight waiting here, guys. The market action really is just not good today. You guys find anything y'all red or green? I mean, we're just kind of chopping sideways here. But every time it looks bearish, we reverse it, head back up. Every time it looks bullish, we kind of reverse it, head back down. See, now we're heading back higher here. So let's see if we start to push. I am a little bit more optimistic about the bull side. Just to put it into perspective, I am a little bit more optimistic about the bull side, but I don't think it's necessarily given. And I think markets are moving on news right now. So, yeah, I think markets are purely moving on news. We'll see. But this range sucks. Yeah, no trades today might be the better move here. It really might. I see you, Matt. You still like Netflix under 100? I don't hate it long term. Short term, I have no idea where it's going to go. But long term, I like it. It just depends on how much time it takes. You know? So we are starting to pop back higher here. And again, I guess I'm on the bull side here. We'll trade, but I do want to wait. There's the bulls starting to get control here. Yeah, but I don't know if the orb necessarily works here. So like here would be, this would be the orb right here. All right, so 830 is right here. The 15-minute orb would be, really it would be this right here, which like we just cracked underneath it. If we start to reverse down and break down, the 15-minute orb works. If not, the 15-minute orb is not doing great. So we would have to, like, if we rip down here after breaking the bottom end of it and then, you know, continue down, then sure, the orb worked today. But as of now, we're kind of back to the middle of the range here. So I'm not necessarily loving anything right now. I do think I need to just kind of chill and wait. We're up to 26,700s though, so we're getting close enough to highs where I do think, again, my side is the bull side today. I think maybe we'll go up. And I think the more we push up and get closer to those highs, you know, maybe the better it's going to be, if that makes sense. I just don't know what we're going to do. I don't know what markets are going to do. I don't know what markets are really pricing in here. Yeah, somebody said draw out the 8 to 815 orb. Tesla broke down, CoreWeave broke down. Palantir's actually still green on the day. Nvidia is sideways and choppy too. For a Monday, it's actually pretty choppy today. It's not a lot going on for a Monday. Let me trade. I see some ECB members speaking. Yeah, so I am looking more bullish. Just don't know what we're going to do here. It's kind of boring. You should backtest NVIDIA over 200 again. Entire market betting on Taco. I bought Trump Taco incoming. You guys red or green on the day? I'm slightly red, but, you know, we'll be all right. Still push it up though. This 800 level could be interesting. Green so far. Just green. Yeah. I'm sorry guys. I know it's kind of boring. There's just not a lot going on right now. Semi-green, green, 10 a.m. drop incoming. Yeah, 10 a.m. is in 3 minutes. So we have 10 a.m. in 3 minutes. We don't have any economic reports today. Like zero. So kind of a boring day. Tomorrow we do have retail sales data. So we do have retail sales tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow we'll get a little bit better action. And I think markets are just kind of waiting. Not on retail sales necessarily, but more so just waiting to see what news comes out about the meeting with Iran today. I think that's really what this is markets waiting on that news to come out. And if talks are looking optimistic, markets might rip up. And I think even still, it's looking bullish right now. If markets are not looking optimistic, maybe markets price, you know, fear and higher oil and weaker indices. It's definitely possible. But so far, we're still in the range. We had a couple good stuff, but so far, we're still in the range. Oil going up in the NASDAQ here. So here's the NQ. NQ's pushing higher here. Oil is not going to go up. Oil is going to be moving down on renewed optimism for talks because, you know, less scarcity means oil drops is what the logic is. Is this sad music? I don't know. This music kind of reminds me of the Social Network movie. I'm thinking of short again. Yeah, we'll see. Hey, y'all give me a follow at x.com at beginner trades. At beginner trades. Yeah, again, I just don't really like this price action. Most people don't, honestly. If I don't go make breakfast, I might not make it. Short again in 2 minutes. Yeah, here's 10 a.m. Look, here's the 10 a.m. move. We'll see if we get some type of downward pressure here. At 10 o'clock. Here's the NASDAQ. But so far, this range sucks. Big range, sideways action. So, big range choppiness. Boring. Yeah, it's just not really a good move. Earnings this week might spice things up, though. Jim Cramer says the bulls are not worried about Iran yet. The bulls are not worried about Iran yet, apparently, according to Jim Cramer. Also, remember, guys, the Apex sale does end tomorrow, midnight. I think it's midnight tomorrow. You can check them out here. They have end-of-day drawdown options now. No payout denials, no MAE. Wolf 5-1 rule is not there anymore. Built-in scaling, 50% consistency once you're funded. You can get the 25K challenge eval for 20 bucks, basically. I would go with the 50 end-of-day, which is 35 bucks. Again, you can use my coupon code BGT at checkout. Get all the major stuff. Again, they're an affiliate of mine. I'm biased. But you can find the link to that in the description. Check them out. Here's 10 a.m. here. Nothing really happened. And we're still sideways. I'm probably going to cut out of here. This just does not look good. Markets are kind of boring right now. Just kind of sideways and boring here. So, tomorrow we do have retail sales data. Chat. So we do have retail sales tomorrow. So remember, retail sales tomorrow. We'll see what that looks like. I don't know how much that's going to move markets, maybe. Again, y'all be safe here. Be safe, you know. I'm going to cut out of here. Y'all be good. Have a great day. Yeah, markets went from straight open to now where straight is closed, but it's looking more likely that we're going to get a deal done. So, very sideways. 30 plus minutes since the opening bell. For a Monday, it's kind of boring. And I think markets demand excitement right now. Demand excitement. But again, check out my link at all major prop firms. You can use BGT. You can check out Take Profit, great for beginners. Lucid, kind of good overall. Tradeify, cheapest directive funded. And Apex, cheapest accounts in general. So check them out. Links in the description. Appreciate the love, guys. Remember, I am not an investment professional. Nothing here is financial advice. Markets are boring. Be careful. I don't even claim to be a good trader. That's not what we're about here. We just kind of trade live, let people watch, cover the news, watch the market reactions. And yeah, y'all be safe. I'll see you guys later. He'll be back tomorrow. Brent will be back tomorrow.